The Spy TV Network presents Spy Master Reads, classic novels read to you by Striker Sly.
Hard in Hightown, a Dragon Age novel written by Varric Tethras with Mary Kirby. Hard in Hightown. They say coin never sleeps, but anyone who's walked through Kirkwall's Hightown market at midnight would disagree. The pickpockets and confidence men head to the taverns at dusk, the shouts of the hucksters fade into echoes, and the dwarven businessmen go back to their tiny palaces to count the ways they got cheated and polish their ancient grievances. The market falls silent except for the sea wind whistling its lullaby through the empty shop stalls. And the only souls who visit the market late at night are looking for trouble, one way or another. Donan Branakovic knew every angle of the market with his eyes closed. He was a man composed entirely of differing shades of faded brown, from the gray-sprinkled brown of his bushy sideburns to his perpetually squinty hazel eyes, to the freckles dotting his nose and cheekbones, and even down to the stained and sun-bleached uniform that had once, in better times and with better care, been red. 20 years of patrols had chiseled the stones of every street and alley in Kirkwall into him, so that he walked a beat even in his dreams. The recruit was another story. The ring of steel striking stone told Donan that Jevlin had stumbled into a column again. His new armor would be full of dents by sunrise. Donan tried not to smile. Usually, Hightown was the safest patrol in Kirkwall. But usually, guardsmen didn't go 3 rounds with gravity and lose. Jevlin was closer to round 6 by now. The sound as Jevlin hauled himself off the pavement was like a tinker's cart going downstairs. Jevlin was tall and shaped like a badly blunted arrowhead, broad across the shoulders and tapering down to his feet. None of his armor fit, and every piece seemed to be alternately attempting to leap from the recruit's body to smother him. His pale, blue-eyed face was lost under his immense bucket-like helmet. Donan watched him struggle to his feet from the dull black flagstones and wondered if the quartermaster gave Jevlin that gear as a joke. "Torches would make this easier," Jevlin muttered. "Torches make you night blind. You'll adjust." Donan crossed the square to help the kid to his feet. "Just try to stay away from the stairs, would you? With your luck, you'd fall all the way down to the quays." "How many years do I have to walk this patrol before I stop tripping?" Jevlin grumbled. 30? 40? One of his pauldrons had been jammed at an awkward angle by his fall. He smacked his shoulder repeatedly, clanging like a cheap dinner bell, trying fruitlessly to shove the plate back into place. Why would you ever want to retire and give all this up? Donan grabbed the recruit's arm and pulled the errant pauldron back into position. "Hard as it is to imagine, kid, you'll get tired of all this excitement and glamour eventually." A breeze whisked across the plaza, sending the satin banners and pennants of the merchant stalls shivering and carrying an old, familiar scent. Donan stopped in his tracks. "Something's wrong." His voice was low and hushed. He peered into the dark at the mezzanine just above the square. "Follow me and be ready for trouble." With Jevlin somehow managing to stumble only twice, the 2 guards climbed the dark stairs. The recruit caught his breath, leaning against the low stone balustrade of the mezzanine, squinting into the dark as if that might improve his night vision. What is it?" he whispered. What are we looking for up here?" Donan didn't answer. He didn't need to see. Following his nose like a hound, it was close. He knew. The air was heavy and still up on that mezzanine, almost sticky with a sweetish smell like raw meat. And there, in the puddle of a shadow, he found the body. Gold-trimmed satin glittered through the blood. Donan let out a weary sigh. "Get the captain. We've got a dead magistrate." Who is he?" Jevlin asked as the older guardsman knelt and carefully turned the body over onto his back. "No idea. That's why you need to go get the captain," Donan replied as he carefully pulled the torn, blood-soaked fabric away from the dead man's chest to get a better look in the dim moonlight at the wide, ragged stab wound beneath. "We need someone who knows the city's officials to identify him." But you know he's a magistrate, Devlin asked as he leaned over to peer at the corpse. Now, recruit, Donnan snapped. This guy's not getting any fresher. The kid looked like he was about to argue for half a second, then saluted and ran for the keep, armor clattering like a wagon full of pans. He disappeared into the dark, and quiet settled back into the plaza. Donnan stretched and watched the moon drift behind the choir of the chantry, casting the market into even deeper shadow. In his experience, while everyone from the beggars in Darkstown to the Viscount himself might say they hated their local magistrate, the people most likely to take a swing at one were other magistrates. Untangling this mess could take months he didn't have left. The clattering sun returned with a blaze of torchlights. Captain Hendelin barely needed a torch. Donnan suspected she could see in pitch dark by willpower alone. But if that didn't do it, her fiery hair almost cast enough light to read by. Magistrate Seamus Dunwald. The captain sighed as if she might be disappointed in the man for dying on her watch. And she probably was. You didn't hear a struggle? See anyone flee the scene? No, ma'am. He's cold. I've been lying here for at least an hour before we found him. The blood on the flagstones is clotting. Donnan studied the dead man's face in the firelight. Young, sandy-haired, with wide, staring eyes. He'd probably been looking right into the face of his killer when he'd been stabbed. In the light, the gold-threaded embroidery of the Kirkwall sigil, a stylized dragon made from the most complicated of knots, gleamed from the breast of his coat. I'll have words with the last patrol. Captain Hendelin's tone suggested that the words might cause bodily harm on impact, and I'll tell the chantry to send someone for the body. Get everything you can from the scene before the dwarven merchants wake up. I want a full report of this on my desk first thing in the morning, Brnokovic. Yes, ma'am. He rummaged through Dunwald's pockets as the captain walked away and left Devlin standing awkwardly behind holding a torch. Donnan found a ring of keys, a full purse of gold coins, a couple of paper markers, and a monogrammed silk handkerchief that smelled of lilacs. Do I follow the captain, or continue with the patrol, or... Devlin shifted uneasily in his ill-fitting hodgepodge of plate. Donnan studied the kid in the torchlight for a moment. It would be impossible to even put a dent in this case before Donnan left the guard. The smart thing, the wise thing to do would be to follow the captain's orders, write up the report and finish their patrol of the empty market, leave the dead man to someone else. Devlin tried to scratch his nose with his gauntlet and narrowly avoided hitting himself in the eye. He was so green, he might as well have leaves. As a young guard, Donnan had once been made to patrol Lowtown for a month with the trained Nug for a partner. The Nug had been more battle-ready than Devlin. Donnan let out a deep sigh and made a decision. I'm supposed to show you the ropes, so, let's investigate a murder, recruit.
We hope you enjoyed this chapter. See you next time.